You think you're delusional? You don't know delusion. You don't know delusion. There are levels to this, okay? Levels. Hi everyone, my name is Nengi, and as someone who has read a fair share of romance books in my life, I think I am more than qualified to make the series and basically analyze every single romance book that is blowing up right now. And I have read most of them, but I will be taking the time to really get into the nitty and gritty of them and show you why they're so popular. Gonna be alright. So starting off strong with this book, Better Than the Movies, which is actually a book I read so many years ago. So it's funny to like look at how like different scenes are so different now that I am so old and so wise. I turn 19 next week, but I am so old and so wise, so now I think I'm more than qualified to see this with an adult's point of view, you know, an adult perspective, because I'm an adult now. Also, the movie just got announced at the time I'm making this video. There's gonna be a movie, and the casting has a little controversy for some reason. Like the casting of Wes, I think is crazy, because the guy that's playing Wes is Cam Cameron from The Summer I Turned Pretty. Who doesn't like Cam Cameron? Like, Cam Cameron, guys, what's your deal? Just leave him alone. I really like the casting. I think it's great. I think David is gonna be amazing in the movie, and so is Beatrice, and I will be sad. I'll be the first person there. But today we're here to talk about the book Better Than the Movies, and our main protagonist, Elizabeth Buxbaum. This is gonna be a super unhinged, over dramatic review of the entire book. I don't know yet if I'm gonna have 2 parts or 1, because I have a lot to say, so this could honestly end up being 2 parts, in which case the second part will probably be uploaded a few days after the first part because I have work. It is gonna be a wild ride because this book is such a wild ride and I need to share it with you. If you don't want to get spoiled, because I will be basically spoiling the entire book, if you don't want to get spoiled and you're here just to know if this book is worth reading, I will say yes, especially if you're into very cute, very young adult vibes, very high school, love high school sweethearts. I would say 500% yes. You go do your thing, go read the book, come back to this video, and you're probably gonna love it. You're probably gonna love it because it is such a cute romance book. Like, this is not a hate video by any means. I just want to review it because I want to go through just why it's such a wild ride, and I want to go through that with you. So if you're here for a recommendation, Better Than the Movies, absolutely 10 out of 10 book, 100%. But I have a lot to say, so let's get into it. So the first character we meet in the book is Wes Bennett, who is Lizzie's next door neighbor, and he is kind of her arch nemesis because they've been fighting over this parking spot for literally years. This is the parking spot that is the closest to their house, so, and they're neighbors, so it is the only parking spot that is available to both of them. So they've been fighting over it for years in like their little feud, so that's why they're enemies. So today Lizzie had called the cops on Wes's car because it had been there for 3 days, and apparently after a car has been parked idly for 3 days, you can call it to get it towed, or you can call it to like get a ticket. So that's what she did. So she called the cops on Wes and got him a ticket. So that's why Wes is mad, and he put the ticket back on her car, and then he taped it on so it's sat on. And Wes is so annoying, guys. This is just the beginning of his annoyance. Wait, you see. With the whole saga, Lizzie finally drives to school, and the next character we introduced to is Jocelyn, who is Lizzie's best friend in the whole wide world. She is a very chill, down-to-earth, popular-ish, athletic, black. Jocelyn is also black, so guess who my favorite character is? Guess. So we first meet Jocelyn when Lizzie goes to the bathroom because she knows she'll be there because she's always late. So she goes to the bathroom and Jocelyn is like complimenting Lizzie, and this is when we find out that Lizzie has an obsession with dressing like a 1950s Doris Day Audrey Hepburn character, because that's the character that's always in those 1950s romance movies that she loves. So she literally will wear these outrageous dresses, and you know, they have flowers on them and they're like pastel colored or whatever, and that's like her regular school attire because that's what she likes to wear. Another thing we find out about Lizzie is that she is super into movie soundtracks and she loves to make her own soundtracks like me. So she's just like me. She's just like me. So she loves movie soundtracks and she will occasionally reference them throughout this novel, and she will occasionally just like quote them randomly, like, and throughout the entire book, because she just loves songs and she loves music so much. So that's, blame her, like, she's just like me. She's just a teenage girl. I watched my mom's beloved rom-coms practically every night using her DVD collection I'd inherited when she died. I felt closer to my mother when I watched them. It felt like a tiny piece of her was there watching beside me, probably because we watched them so many times. So Elizabeth Buxbaum, or Liz, or I'll call her Lizzie throughout the video because she reminds me of Elizabeth Bennet, whose nickname was Lizzie. So I'm just gonna call her Lizzie. Lizzie is just a cuter nickname. Why would she go by Liz? Why? Why would you do that? She is a 17-year-old girl who is in her last year of high school, but her mother had just passed away because she got hit by a drunk driver, which is so sad. But I'm mentioning it this early because this is kind of what's gonna follow Lizzie throughout the entire story, and it'll be responsible for all the bad decisions she's going to make throughout this book. And this book wouldn't even exist if she just went to therapy. If she just went to therapy and healed from all of the horrible, sad things she's gone through in the past few years, this wouldn't happen. But I'm just giving this as a warning that majority of the bad decisions that Lizzie is about to make is because her mother died. So let's give her some grace. Let's not be too judgy. We know that she loves soundtracks and she loves to dress like an old lady. So basically, you can make the mental picture in your mind that she is some goody two-shoes girl, like a nice girly girl who loves these things. So that's just her personality and her initial style, so keep that in mind. The other thing that happens is that we find out that Lizzie is avoiding asking her dad for permission to go prom dress shopping with her best friend Jocelyn. But we don't know why yet. We just know that that's not what she wants to do. After that, Lizzie and Jocelyn walk to English Lit together, and the next character that we meet is a girl named Lainey. And Lainey is who I describe as basically arch nemesis number 2 for Lizzie. And I don't really know how to describe her, so I'm just gonna read the description as Lizzie describes her, which is pretty interesting. If surveyed, everyone on the planet would unanimously agree that that girl was beautiful. It was an indisputable fact. She had one of those noses that was so adorable, its existence had surely created the need for the word pert. Her eyes were huge like a Disney princess's, and her blonde hair was always shiny and soft, and it looked like it belonged in a shampoo commercial. Too bad her soul was the exact opposite of her physical appearance. I disliked her so very much. As the grown 18-year-old and adult here, I can say that Lainey is just some girl that Lizzie doesn't like because she's jealous, which is fine because she's a teenage girl, but she's not some evil demon. So we find out that the reason that Lizzie doesn't like Lainey is because Lainey would always get handwritten notes from her mother after Lizzie's mother had just passed, which you can imagine was pretty sad for Lizzie because she had to witness that every day. To this day, everyone thought Lainey was great and pretty and smart, but I knew the truth. She might pretend to be nice, but for as long as I can remember, she's given me crusty, weird looks. As in, every single time the girl looked at me, it looked like I had something on my face and she couldn't decide if she was grossed out or amused. Girl. And during all of this, Lainey asks Lizzie if she wants gum. Like, it's right in the middle of the inner monologue and Lainey is just like, gum? And Lizzie's like, Everyone in the world will know what I know, you evil witch. The next thing we find out is how prom is coming up and how Lizzie needs a prom date, because why wouldn't she? Like, she is literally the girl who watches romance movies every single night. How can she not have a date to prom? How? That's impossible. But unfortunately, she has been unlucky in the love department. She says every single one of her relationships lasts at most 2 weeks before she gets the ick. So now she's single and vulnerable, and she's about to be dumped from the island. But no, she would never settle for your average Joe. Not our Liz. To go with someone who made my breath catch and my heart flutter. But who was even left in the school that I hadn't already considered? Prom was supposed to be the pinnacle of high school romance. It was supposed to be poster board proposals, matching corsages, speechless awe over the way you look in your dress, and sweet kisses under the cheesy disco ball. That wasn't my prom, by the way. My prom was just endlessly dancing to Pitbull and the Black Eyed Peas over and over again, and line dancing in some hall. So, Lizzie, beggars can't be choosers. All of a sudden, as she's lamenting, she gets a text from Jaws saying that she has big news. What could this news be? She's walking down the hallway and she's like, what is this big news? And then as she turns down the wide swing, then all of a sudden she comes to halt, because right there, standing in front of her, is the boy of all boys, the babe of all babes, Michael Young. My childhood crush moved in slow motion, with tiny bluebirds chirping and flitting their wings around his head as his golden hair blew in sparkling breeze. I think my heart might have just stopped. Michael had lived down the street when we were little, and he'd been everything to me. I loved him as far back as I could remember. He'd always been my next level amazing, smart, sophisticated, and, I don't know, dreamier than any other boy. So basically, this guy is like the one, basically. Like, if you can't tell, now Jaws is here, and she knew she was gonna go crazy. So that's why she's like, girl, calm down, like, take it easy, like, it's just Michael Young. And meanwhile, our girl Lizzie is like going into full psychoanalytic mode that we could very well be having our meet cute. I was dressed for it. He was beautiful. Could this moment be more perfect? Girl, he smelled good. So good. And I wanted to catalog every tiny detail of the moment. The soft, worn-in feel of his shirt under my palms, the breadth of his shoulders, the golden skin on his neck, scant centimeters away from my face as I hugged him back. What is going on? This guy just came to school. Like, what happened to hello? How are you? He just walked in. And Wes, the guy from earlier, bumps into her and ruins the moment, which is perfect. Like, thank you, Wes. Thank you for that. They both just completely ignore her as Wes invites Michael to a party, and Michael's like, yeah. And then Liz is like, what? How can you, my future boyfriend, be going to a party with my worst enemy? Like, you're fucking the brand up. You're fucking the brand up. After that, Liz is like talking to Jocelyn, and she's like, I can't believe you didn't invite us. You don't even know them. You don't even know the person who's having the party. Jocelyn, who does know them, is like, hey, like, you're not missing out on much. Like, you don't even want to go there. Like, it's a popular kids party, and, you know, they're just gonna play stupid games. Jocelyn's like, Michael has actually been here for weeks, okay? Like, he didn't just show up. He's actually been here for weeks. And guess who he's been hanging out with? That's right. Lady Morgan. Lady, our enemy number 2. So now Michael has befriended 2 of our enemies. 2! Not Lainey. My stomach clenched as I pictured her perfect little nose. I knew it was rational, but the idea of Lady and Michael was almost too much for me to bear. That girl always got everything I wanted. She couldn't have him! And I'm like, you don't own him. He can hang out with who he wants. But get this. Her and Michael have history, okay, according to her. So that's why she's reacting this way, because they have history. Yeah, and she points back to this one memory of Michael's going away party and how her mother and Michael had gotten along so well, and that's basically the history she's talking about, which is like, girl, that was nothing. Like, it's so obvious how delusional she is, and like the one-sided beef with Lainey, like, it's It's so obvious. I'm not saying that to be a bad thing. Like, this is so on brand for like a teenage girl. Like, Lynn Painter, I applaud you because this is so teenage girl. Like, Elizabeth Buxbaum is the only teenage girl to ever exist. And she's proving it. And she's proving it. She's proving it with her inner monologue. She's proving it. We all have this girl who's our enemy and she's just like some girl. And then we all have this guy who's our soulmate and he's just some guy. But when you're a teenage girl, like, it just all seems so much. Like, it's so big and you think like this person is your enemy and this person is your soulmate when they're just people. Now, of course, Jocelyn, our beacon of wisdom, is like, babe, wake up. That was not your meet cute. Like, this guy is not gonna be the guy that you end up marrying because you just met him after not seeing him in years. We have Lizzie in her head and she's like, well, him and Lainey aren't official yet, so technically I still have a chance. Girl. So this is when Jocelyn, like, she stops talking about Michael and brings it back to the original conversation and she's like, do you want to go prom dress shopping? And again, like at the beginning of the book, like, she's making excuses because she doesn't want to. And that's because of her mother. Remember at the beginning when I said everything ties back to her mother? It really does. She doesn't want to go prom dress shopping because her mother isn't there and it feels wrong because this was everything her mother would have loved, which is fair. But just tell Jocelyn, you know, like, just tell her instead of lying to your supposed best friend in the entire world. But as I said, her mother's death is definitely gonna play the role for all the bad decisions she's gonna make, especially the one she's making now with Michael. Like, she's basically about to use Michael to get her fairy tale ending that her mother would have liked because she thinks her mother would have liked it. And like, she thinks this is what her mother would have wanted for her. And now she thinks this guy is just gonna go to prom with her and become a boyfriend, which is, who can say when you're basing your entire healing and wellness on some guy? What if he's like, no? But also, and this is important, Michael Young left at the same time that Lizzie's mother's died. So I can understand from a psychological perspective why she is so hung up on him, because it reminds her of her mother. Like, Michael Young coming back feels like her mother's coming back, which isn't true, but that's what she thinks because trauma. So that's why, as much as this is like a cute little rom-com, it still has a lot of dark undertones of grief and that Lizzie never really heals from. She's clearly dealing with it. Like, it'll keep coming back throughout the book, this thing about her mother and her grief, and it just keeps coming back. So it never leaves throughout the story, so it's always at the back of your mind. Just keep it there. Next, so in this next part, we get confirmation that Lizzie is obsessed with romantic comedies, which is like fork found in the kitchen. Fork found in kitchen. Also, that her mom was a screenwriter and actually wrote so many romantic comedies, which is so cute. She was actually gonna be more successful, like a really big name, if she didn't pass away, which is tragic. But all this is enough to convince Liz that she's kind of this expert on love because she's watched so many movies. So she decides that if she's ever gonna get a chance at Michael Young and convince him to take her to prom, she needs to go to the party that she was not invited to. The same party that Jocelyn told her not to go to. So to get to this party, she stoops to the level of enlisting Wes, who's arch nemesis number 1, because if Wes invited Michael Young, then Wes is probably going. So she goes to Wes and tells him her insane plan, and she's like, if you help me with this and get me to the party, I will give you 24-hour access to the spot for as long as you help me. So obviously Wes is like, no, like, this is insane, and isn't he interested in Lainey? And then everyone's telling her, like, you're delusional, like, he already has someone he's interested in, and she's like, la 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 la. During this, as she's trying to convince Wes to help her, we also get a flashback to this time where Wes also helped her when they were kids. Her new stepmom had sold all of her mom's old DVDs. Wes, as a baby, was kind of the only one that was there for her and comforting her, and even gave her the money to get it back, which is really cute. And this is also the first time we see Wes painted in any form of good lights, because from the beginning he was kind of this annoying neighbor, but now he's like kind of a good person. So after all that, Wes basically agrees to help her because he wants the parking spot. But in the scene, Wes asks her, like, is your end game to get Michael to like you? And she's like, yes. And for the book girlies, it says in the book, his jaw flexed. What could that jaw flex mean? What could it mean? Who knows? Let's keep going. The two of them carry on going back and forth and arguing about romance novels and romance books and if they're realistic or not. And it's just like 5 whole pages of banter, which is like... It then cuts to another scene, and this is the first time we find out about Liz and her daily run. And during her daily run, she's actually running to a cemetery that her mother is buried in. Which is actually really sad. So she was basically sitting at her mother's grave and updating her about everything that happened today and just letting her know the whole thing, which is actually a really cute scene. Moving on. It's the day of the party. It's the day of the party, and we actually get a glimpse inside Lizzie's head because we get to see what she thinks of her new stepmother, Helena, who her dad remarried after Lizzie's mom had passed away. It was the epitome of irony that they had the ultimate meet-cute and seemed made for each other. What's her obsession with meet-cutes? Because she was the polar opposite of my mother. My mother had been sweet, patient, and adorable, like a modern version of Doris Day. She loved dresses, homemade bread, and fresh-cut flowers from her garden. That was all part of what my father had fallen madly in love with. He said she was enchanting. Helena, on the other hand, was sarcastic and beautiful. She was jeans and a t-shirt. Let's pick up takeout. I don't like rom-coms. Yet my dad was lost to her the minute that high-rise elevator malfunctioned. And I'm also glad that Lizzie said this because this is something I've always thought. Like, what happens when you marry someone and they unfortunately pass away? Like, when you're starting to date again, like, do you look for someone who is exactly like your partner because that's your ideal type? Or do you look for someone that is nothing like your partner because that's like a breath of fresh air? I think you can't win either way. I think that's what Lizzie is trying to say. Like, how can you fall in love with this type of woman and then like have a baby with her and raise a whole child and then turn around and date someone who is the complete opposite of her? But I think if you did date someone exactly like your mom, like, it would be worse because now you have someone who is exactly like her and you have an everlasting reminder of her just living in your house, which I think is that even the better choice, the better alternative? Anyways, so after all that, Wes finally comes to pick her up to go to the party, and we finally get a glimpse into what our Lizzie girl is wearing to her first high school party. So I did some digging, and this is the best photo I could find that could fit the description of the abomination that she wore to this party. A mustard yellow jumper dress with flower buttons. Let me paint the picture. It is 9 p.m. Pull up to a high school party. Everyone's doing beer pong, whatever they do at parties. I've never been to one, but I can imagine. In the midst of all that youthful, chaotic energy, here comes this babe, this total chick in her mustard yellow dress. What are you doing? Don't get me wrong, like, you should wear what you want to wear. Like, you know, like, anyone can wear what they want to wear to a party. Like, that's, you know, you do you. I support that 100%. But babe, baby, a mustard yellow jumper dress. Let's keep going. They get to the party and Lizzie is obviously nervous, as she should be, and she's like, where's Michael? Like, why isn't he here yet? And Wes is like, we've been here 10 minutes, like, calm down. And we get our second Wes is not evil inner monologue. After that, girl just randomly jumps on Wes right in front of Lizzie, and she's like all over him. So in Lizzie's attempt to save him from her amorous clutches, she basically just tells this girl like, hey, like, can you stop doing that because that's my boyfriend, which is not true. And then this girl is like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to be all over your man, which is fair, as she should. But this girl also turns out to be Ashley Sparks, who is the biggest gossip in the entire school. So Lizzie is like, oh my gosh, now everyone in the school was gonna think I'm dating Wes when I'm not. And Wes is like, why would you do that? And Lizzie is like, I don't know, I wanted to save you. And they're just laughing because they think it's so funny. And I'm like, Lizzie, the saxophones, like, what do you mean? Can you not hear it getting louder? Like, everyone's gonna know, including Michael Young. While they're laughing, Michael finally shows up and he's like, hey guys, like, oh no, actually he's like, hey y'all, which is actually, this is really important to mention that he has a southern accent, because he lived in Texas while he was away from Nebraska. So his southern accent is actually, it's its own character in this book. So it's important to mention. Just picture like a modern day, like, Matthew McConaughey, basically. That's basically who this man is. So now Michael turns to Liz and he's like, hey Liz. I'm gonna try to do a southern accent. Hey Liz. You look exactly the same. Which, anyways, is that a compliment? She looks exactly the same as she was in 5th grade. Hello? She's a senior in high school. And after he looks at her mustard yellow jumper, he asks, so where do you work? Because she looks like a waitress. Honestly, I can't even blame him, but nobody's allowed to insult our Lizzie except me. What do you mean? She took the time to put on this outfit to impress you and you make fun of her? No, not allowed. That's only my job. Imagine how happy she was to wear it. Now you hurt her feelings and now she has to lie that she works at a diner as a waitress. Just because of you. So after that, they start talking about prom and Michael is like, when even is prom? And this is the first time that we find out that prom is in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Lizzie's entire plan to make Michael fall in love with her and ask her to prom and become her soulmate has a 2-week time limit, which is absolutely insane. I thought the way she was talking, I thought they had months. 2 weeks? I think now we can already tell that this was doomed to fail. Michael then asked them, like, are they going to go together? Because by now, because of Ashley Sparks, the gossip, Michael already knows that Wes and Liz are dating. So both of them immediately are like, absolutely not, like that's not what happened at all. And another girl comes and drags Wes away, so now it's just Michael and Lizzie. Our girl Lizzie actually works up the courage to tell Michael that she used to have a crush on him. And then Michael is in the middle of responding back when, I kid you not, Ashley Sparks turns to Lizzie and vomits on her right in front of Michael. We're talking projectile vomit on her ugly mustard yellow jumper dress. This scene is truly as horrific as it sounds. I just need you to paint the picture in your head. Like, just imagine, because it really is bad. Michael just kind of stands there and Wes is the one who kind of shows up and is like, drags Lizzie away up to the bathroom. Like, he's like, wait here, freshen up, I'll go get some clean clothes. I have some clothes in my car. Michael, Mr. Perfect, Mr. Prince Charming, shows up not to say like, are you okay? Not to say like, I'm so sorry. He says, at least you are wearing your work clothes and not your real clothes. You're done, Michael. You're done. Go home. Just how useless can you be? So Wes comes back with the clean old gym clothes. Lizzie freshens up and then she puts on these oversized boy clothes, and she absolutely hates it because obviously she's Lizzie. But honestly, I think this is even more normal to wear than whatever she was wearing before. No shade, Lizzie. So she goes back to where Wes and Michael were downstairs, and she's like, Wes, we gotta go because I look ridiculous, which is fair. But because of Lizzie's clothes are so big and are practically falling off, it exposes this tattoo she got in honor of her mother. It's like all the way down at her waist, and Michael notices. Michael is like, hey, I like your tattoo. And Lizzie is like, thank you. And Wes's jaw flexes again. This is our second jaw flex. What could that mean? What could that mean? So after the whole party fiasco, Wes and Lizzie are finally driving home. And Lizzie asks Wes like what they were talking about, like what he and Michael were talking about while she was upstairs. And apparently Michael still thinks that Lizzie is still the weird little kid that she was in 5th grade. Which is actually so rude. But apparently he still thinks that she's like the weird theater kid that she was in 5th grade, and now Wes was like trying to change his opinion of her, and he was like, nah bruh, you got it wrong, like Lizzie is like so hot, like she's a total babe at school. And that actually didn't help at all, because now Michael thinks that Wes has a thing for Lizzie because he was trying to gas her up so much. But and here's the twist. Lizzie comes up with the idea that, hey, why don't we pretend to be in a fake relationship? That will make Michael not see her as little Liz anymore, and now is like a total babe. And at first Wes was like, heck no. But light bulb, if I help you out again, I'm gonna get the parking spot forever. So now Lizzie is like, heck no. Wes is like guaranteeing her like, babe, like I'm not just gonna be your regular run-of-the-mill boyfriend. I'm gonna be like everything. I'm gonna be your spy, your fashion designer, your stylist. So this is enough to convince her, and she eventually concedes. So now our two sworn enemies are now in a fake relationship. I think I've seen this before. Huh? Laura Jean and Peter. And how did that end up? Show a little lovin', shine a little light on, show a little lovin'. And then the next day, Wes shows up at Lizzie's workplace, and she works at this used bookstore place. And he's like, hey, a couple of me and my friends are gonna hit up a basketball game, but hey, Michael Young is gonna be there, so you can get a little alone time with Mikey, but on one condition. Wes is gonna choose her outfit for her, and thank God. Thank you, Wes. We need that, please. We cannot have another mustard jumper situation. So Lizzie agrees, and then they go shopping for a brand new outfit for Lizzie to wear, because she has nothing in her closet that is something a normal teenage girl would wear. So they have to go shopping. In the middle of this, Lizzie remembers that Jocelyn, remember Jocelyn, her best friend in the entire world? She was supposed to go prom dress shopping with her today, and then she's just like texting her randomly, and she's like, actually I can't come today because I need to work a double. Sorry. What? Like, hello? Prom is in 2 weeks. Like, most girls usually have their dresses by like a month in advance, because if you don't get them early, all the good dresses are gonna sell out. Like, I went to prom, and like it is a whole thing. Like, you have to have your dresses before the time. Not only is she being a horrible friend by lying to her, she's also being horrible because now Jocelyn has to wait for her to get all of her stuff so they can go. And at least tell her like you just don't want to go so she can go get her own dress. So Wes and Liz go shopping together, and it's actually a cute montage because Wes is being all cute about the shopping, and they have a bunch of cute scenes, and we can see like Lizzie's opinion of Wes changing in real time from like evil neighbor to like actually good person. But just as they're in the middle of their shopping montage, guess who just happens to be in the same room of the same store of the same mall? Jocelyn! She's back, and she's here, and so is Lizzie, who was supposed to be working a double at work. Jocelyn's like, hey boo, like what are you doing here? Like, aren't you supposed to be at work? And she's like confused, as she should be. Now you're probably thinking like, Lizzie, like give it up, the act is done. You've been caught red-handed out shopping with a boy. Just do the grown-up thing and tell Jocelyn like, hey, I know, I'm sorry I lied. I'm such a bad person. I've just been going through so much, and I'm not ready to go prom dress shopping yet because I'm still grieving my mom, which is fair. Sorry I made you wait this long. Just go on shopping without me. But no, what does she do? She doubles down on her lie, and she's like, oh, I got up early and Wes's car broke down, so I had to go pick him up. And Wes is like, you know, he's on her side because he doesn't even know what's going on. So he's like, yep, that's exactly what happened. Like, she was just helping me out. This is basically enough to convince Jocelyn, because she's like, okay, then let's just do it tomorrow. No butts, no cuts, no coconuts, or else I'm gonna be really mad, which is fair. Like, I'm already mad. I'm already mad for you because prom is in 2 weeks. What are you doing? So we get back to the shopping, and while Lizzie is busy trying on the rest of the outfits, we find out that Wes has secretly purchased her a pair of Chuck Taylor Converse. Like, I own a pair of Converses, and let me tell you, like, those are not cheap. $65 minus tax. It's like a good like $75. Where did he even get that money? Like, this is the standard. Wes Bennett is the standard. They carry on shopping, and there's this other cute scene where they go to Lizzie's favorite store, which is called Avison. It's basically a store that has all these vintage mustard yellow, I'm kidding. Okay, not mustard yellow, but like vintage dresses that Lizzie likes to wear. And Wes points to this one particular dress, and he's like, out of all these dresses that are so you, this one is the most you. And I was like, and that actually turned out to be Lizzie's favorite dress out of all of them. It was pricey, so I was forcing myself to wait until I could ask my dad to buy it for my birthday. But there was something about the fact that Wes looked at it and thought it was me. That was something. It made me happy, which it should, because like, how did he know? That's insane. Of all the dresses in the whole store, like, after that, they get interrupted by Lizzie getting a notification that the album that she had ordered because she gets physical albums, had come in today. And this actually brings me to one of my favorite parts about Lizzie, is that she loves to make soundtracks, which is like, she's literally just like me. Well, actually, I'm just like her because I copied her. I didn't say I copied. I did always love music, but she was one who made me like really take it seriously, and it just helps to romanticize life when you have a soundtrack for everything. I remember being 16 and I went down like a playlist making craze. I literally had a playlist for like driving to Walmart. Oh, also, and I forgot to mention this, oopsie, but various times in the book she will equate like a specific song to a specific scene that's happening. These are all book specific. Like in the book, every single chapter starts with a quote from like a rom-com movie, which is so cute, which is why I would recommend this book, especially if you love cute things like that, because they're just a bunch of various cute things just scattered all across the book. Now Lizzie is all dressed up in her new clothes and Chuck Taylors, and she's waiting for Wes to come pick her up to go to the basketball game. The doorbell sounds, she goes to open it thinking it's Wes, and it ends up being Jocelyn again. So Jocelyn walks in because apparently her mom had to reschedule the shopping from tomorrow to another week. Like, just get the dress. But basically that's why she came over, but now that she's seen Lizzie's new outfit, she's like, oh my god, who did this to you? Just for once, like, Lizzie isn't in her regular waitress outfit and she looks like a normal girl. And Helena comes into the room, and then they're also back to talking about prom dress shopping, and Helena realizes that she wasn't invited to go. She'd mentioned multiple times that she thought I should go to prom because I'd regret it if I didn't. And she'd also mentioned multiple times that she could take me dress shopping and we could make a whole day of it. She thought it would be fun. But that had been like a month ago and I'd kind of forgotten, kind of. My feelings about Helena doing the things my mom should have been there to do with me were tricky, and most of the time I just avoided them until they went away, or until this happened. So after this, Wes finally shows up and Lizzie is trying to signal to him like, hey, don't say anything dumb because everyone is here. So Jocelyn pulls Lizzie away and she's like, why are you spending so much time with Wes so much lately? Because are you guys dating? So instead of Lizzie to like come clean and tell Jocelyn that Wes has been helping her trying to get Michael, she would just rather lie and be like, yep, that's exactly what this is. This is definitely a date. At this point, I cannot believe that Lizzie is still trying to go through with this, because if the situation is so bad that it is making you lie this much to your best friend in the whole world, is it worth it? If you're so scared of her telling you that you're so delusional, then you're probably delusional. So this is kind of enough to convince Jocelyn and their friends again. So after they walk into the room of Helena and Wes and they're talking about Love Island or something, because Helena is like, rose petals in your bed every night is a red flag, because, and it's also unglamorous because someone's gonna have to clean it up after, which is fair, which is true. And even Wes is like joining in and laughing, and but this is what Lizzie thinks. I mean, it was pretty funny, but Helena was purposely missing the point of the romantic statement. Yeah, it maybe was a little cheesy, but there was something to be said for making the grand gesture. My mom would have understood. She's not your mom. She's not your mom, Lizzie. Let's start there. Everyone's laughing except you. It's literally just a hypothetical Love Island situation. It just feels like she's constantly trying to compare Helena to her mother and then gets mad when Helena isn't like her mother. Maybe it's because she's not your mom. And honestly, who even wants rose petals in their bed every night? Like, once or twice is okay, but 3 times? Are you serious? So after that, Liz and Wes drive to go meet Michael and the rest of Wes's friends, because they're gonna drive in the minivan and go to the game together. And Wes kind of sets it up in a way that Michael and Lizzie have to talk to each other, which is kind of cute. End up sitting together and Lizzie still says like nothing because she's so nervous, which is fair. But then Michael is the one who actually says something, and I kid you not, of all the things he could say, lovely weather we're having. He could say, your outfit looks really good. You know what he says? You really look a lot like your mom now. Her dead mom? What happened to hello? How are you? And Lizzie is just like absolutely rocked by this, as she should be. What kind of fuckery is this? Was it possible to feel your own heart stop? Probably not. But there was a catch in my chest as I pictured my mother's face and had the realization that Michael still remembered her face too. He could still picture her. I had to blink fast to keep it together because in the whole of my entire life, that was the most important compliment I'd ever received. And this is also feeding Lizzie's delusions that Michael is the perfect Prince Charming that her mom would have wanted for her. And this practically proves it. Because of course, out of everyone, Michael Young is the one to compare her to her mother. Michael was also the one to guess that Lizzie's tattoo that he saw earlier was a tattoo of a daisy because that was her mom's favorite flower. My heart for sure stopped then, and all I could do was nod in response as happy tears sprung up in the corners of my eyes. I turned my head away from him, blinking quietly a few times. He'd seen my tattoo, and without any explanation, he'd gotten it. He might not have known that my mother had loved the line in You've Got Mail about daisies being the friendliest flower, but the flowers had made him think of her. But guess who was coming in to ruin the moment? Lainey. Again. They're stopping because they need to pick up Lainey and they're all going to the game together. How big is this car anyways? There's like 7 of them in there. So Lainey comes in and she's like really dressed up to the nines in like her dance attire and makeup and hair and everything. So Michael immediately ignores Lizzie and focuses on Lainey, and Lizzie and Wes strike up some conversation too, and that's just a vibe until they get to the game. Oh, and side note, during the car ride is when Jocelyn texts Lizzie again because she's like, I just found out you went to the party, and Lizzie's like, oh, I didn't tell you because I knew you didn't want to go. And Jocelyn's like, it's just weird you go to this party full of all my friends and full of people you don't know, which is fair. And then Jocelyn is like, you're being really weird and sketchy, which is fair. So they go to the game, and because it's so loud and busy and basketball, there's not really a lot of opportunity for like one-on-one chatter anymore. It's just too loud. So Wes comes up with the idea that a fun way to get Lizzie involved is by making her place bets on players and get really into it because now she has someone to root for. This actually ended up getting Michael to notice. But after the game ends, apparently the gang just can't get enough of basketball, so they're like, let's go to an empty gym and shoot a few hoops. And Liz just heads straight to the bleachers because obviously she's not shooting any hoops. She's just like chilling and listening to music and like watching the boys play. Then Michael comes out of nowhere and like starts interrupting her and convinces her to play, and she's like, okay. They're shooting some hoops, and then Michael brings up Wes again because of why wouldn't he? He's like, he's a great guy, like you should really get to know him. And Lizzie is like, no, like you got it all wrong, I know him and he's evil. And Michael is like not taking no for an answer. He's like, just try it still. And then Wes comes up in the middle of all this. So Lizzie tries to change the subject. So she asks Michael like, hey, like what are you thinking about doing for prom? Or like, are you going with anyone? And Michael kind of looks at her like he was gonna ask her, and in that moment, I kid you not, a basketball from nowhere hits Lizzie in the face, right in the nose, right in the center, and she is like bleeding out right then and there, right in front of Michael. It's just awful, and obviously everyone's kind of caught off guard, and her nose starts swelling, so the boys start calling her Miss Potato Head, including Michael, mind you, who was right there at the scene of the crime. Like, what's so funny? Why are you making jokes right now when she's bleeding out in front of you? Of course, Wes is the only one who's like taking off his shirt to like give it to her to stop the bleeding, and he's like, don't worry, we're gonna go to the hospital, we're gonna call your parents, we're gonna, you know, get you home. And as I sat there bleeding, I couldn't help but wonder if the universe was sending me a message. I mean, I was more optimistic than most, and I wholeheartedly believed in destiny, but I'd be lying if I said the red flags weren't poised to raise, as they should. Because both the vomit and the blood had happened right when I'd been having moments with Michael. Both times it had felt like we were connecting, and then boom, bodily fluids. Wes is the one who actually helps her at all, and like she drives her to the hospital and stays with her until her parents come and like explains everything, and it's like Michael just did nothing. So after all that, she finally goes home after the hospital and eventually gets a text from Michael, and he's like checking up on her, but like that's the bare minimum. Like we're not giving you any flowers for that, Michael. He checks up on her and he's like, how's the nose? And she's like, yeah, I'm good. And after that, they proceed to have the most cringe conversation ever. I literally almost died from secondhand embarrassment having to endure that. So if I'm gonna endure that, you guys are gonna endure that too. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna torture you like that, but I will read like a snippet from the page just so you understand. Lizzie, so what are you doing right now? Michael, texting you. Lizzie, Sounds exciting. Michael, what does? What does? After that, Michael makes up some excuse and he's like, I gotta run, which is thank goodness. You will not be missed, Michael. After that, she calls Wes and he's like, did you give Michael my number? And Wes is like, yes, and that's good news because Michael no longer thinks of you as little Liz. He thinks you're a total babe, but only this new you, like the new you with the new clothes, as that is entirely fake and not even real at all. That's the only part of you that he likes. A tiny part of me was uncomfortable with that. Like before I straightened my hair and put on a cookie cutter outfit, he couldn't understand how Wes could be interested in me. But when I looked the way I liked looking, it was inconceivable to him that Wes could find me attractive. That kind of stung, which it should, because that's insane. Like, but after that, her and Wes just kind of stay on the phone for longer and they have this like 10 pages worth of cuteness and like banter that is like so romantic, which is the polar opposite of whatever she just had texting Michael. It was weird how talking to him was so easy, way easier than texting with Michael. I wasn't sure if it was because I knew Wes better or perhaps it was because Wes knew me better. He knew I wasn't cool, he'd always known that, so maybe that was why I felt so relaxed because I didn't have to try. And it goes on for like 10 pages, which is, it's so cute. Like it's my favorite scene I think in the entire book because it's just them being them and it's so adorable. So the next day, Liz is preparing for her morning shift at the bookstore and this is when we find out another part of Lizzie's identity is that she applied and got into UCLA. Also, why is UCLA always like the de facto school for every romance main character? Like it's always UCLA or NYU or some random school in Boston. Like there's no in between. Why does no one ever want to go to like UMiami? Like what's wrong with UMiami? But as a girly whose dream school is UCLA, I'll let it slide. I'll let it slide this once because I get you. Yeah, she got into UCLA and she's procrastinating filling out the form for the dorms and everything because UCLA is so far away from home and she'll be far away from her mom's grave, which again I told you everything keeps coming back to her dead mother and how this is how she makes this is her dead mother is holding her back from literally everything, and that's just the recurring part of her identity at the moment, which is why she needs therapy. Like it's not gonna be healed with Michael asking her out. If she doesn't heal from it, she would never be able to move on because not only is it affecting prom, it's now affecting college. Her dad tells her like stop procrastinating because you're running out of time, which is fair, and then she's like yeah I will, but she's not really into it. After that, she goes back to work and who does she meet at her bookstore that is not the diner but the bookstore? Michael Young. And Michael is like, I can't believe you work here and the diner. And she's like, oh yeah, I just a hard worker. Michael is basically there to buy some Bridgerton book, like the book version of Bridgerton, and that's why he's there because he's a Bridgerton fan. It's the prequel to the book, so he's there to buy the prequel to the Bridgerton books. What's your guys' favorite season anyways? I'm a season 2 girly through and through. I love season 2 too much to let it go. Season 2 and Queen Charlotte. Nothing will ever change my mind. No future season will ever be better than season 2 and Queen Charlotte. Like Anthony, you are the bane of my existence. Bridgerton, best brother ever. And Kate Sharma, my queen, like perfect. Actually, I think Queen Charlotte might be just a teeny bit better. Just a smudge. Just anyway, back to the book. So he's there to buy the book, and while he's there, he mentions Wes again. Like, oh my god, he's like, Wes really likes you so much, he can never stop talking to me about you. But that's because he's trying to gas Lizzie up. So he's like, he can never stop talking to me about you, he really likes you so much. And Lizzie is like, oh my god, what's it gonna take? And then Michael is like, okay, just go out with him once, and if you don't like him, then that's that. So Lizzie eventually agrees, and they agreed to hang out on a Wednesday because he's having a big senior party and everyone's gonna be there, so like she can go with Wes. After that, Lizzie is at her mother's grave again, and she's telling her all the juicy details about her running with Michael and how like he's the perfect guy who doesn't get insecure about reading a romance book. And then she gets emotional talking about how she wishes her mother was there for prom dress shopping, and now it's getting to the point that she's at the brink of tears. And Wes just happens to be there at the worst moment ever. He just shows up out of nowhere, and Lizzie is obviously very startled by this because, as she should be, she was in a very vulnerable private place. So she obviously feels very humiliated by this, and Wes is like, at first he's kind of being like smirky and stuff, and he's like, what are you doing here? You're talking to yourself? And obviously Lizzie is humiliated and embarrassed, and she's like, why are you here? Why'd you follow me? And she's like super angry. Wes is like trying to explain, and he's like, I'm so sorry, like I didn't mean it, because he actually didn't even mean to. But Lizzie is she's just too mad, she's too angry, which is fair. She ends up running away from him, and he's constantly trying to like call her back and apologize. She gets home and her dad is in the living room, so to add fuel to the fire, he asks her again like if Helena can come project shopping with her because he really wants to do it. He tries to disagree, but she ends up agreeing, even though she kind of gives a really mean inner monologue in her head. Why should I have to go dress shopping with Helena? For the rest of our chat and the entire duration of my shower afterward, my brain shouted arguments to the great unknown. I felt suffocated by the thought of Helena taking my mom's place, the kind of helpless desperation that caused your fingernails to leave tiny crescent grooves on your palms. I don't want her there. So why is it getting forced down my throat? Why do her wishes count more than mine? After this, she basically kind of calms down a little, and she sees that Wes has texted her, still apologizing for what happened earlier. He's saying he's sorry, and he doesn't think that she's weird at all because he's the same way, that every time they go to Minnesota, he always goes to visit his dead grandmother. And Lizzie is like, no, you're right, it's my fault, like I shouldn't have yelled at you, you obviously didn't mean it. And after that, they're besties again, and Wes is like trying to convince Lizzie to come to this place called the Secret Area. It's a place where all the neighborhood kids used to hang out when they were like in grade school, because of Wes has a huge backyard that leads into a forest. At first, Lizzie is like, heck no, because it's like the middle of the night. She doesn't sneak out because she's the perfect angel daughter. But then Wes texts her and he's like, I'm not gonna answer anymore, I'm turning up my phone, but I'll see you in 5 minutes, so you better be there. It's like, ooh, like Elizabeth, what are you gonna do? And that is where I'm going to end today's video. I know, I'm so sorry. I know you guys want to see the whole thing, but this video is actually getting way too long, way longer than I thought it would be. So I'm gonna have to make a part 2, maybe even a part 3.